Please turn your note packets, your green note packets, to section 6.1, Roots and Radical Expressions. While you're finding your notes, I'm going to go over a few reminders while we are watching these videos. Please wear your headphones if you have them. If you don't have any headphones, please don't sit directly next to someone while you're watching your video. This could be very distracting to the person sitting next to you because you will not be taking notes at the same pace as all of your classmates. Also, you may pause your video at any time so you can write down your notes so you don't miss any important information. You may also rewind your video at any time to listen or watch to a specific part again. When the notes are over, there's going to be a slide at the end that's sort of like an exit slip. You are going to complete those problems and turn them in. Please work on your worksheet using your notes after you're complete with the video. First, we are going to start by symbolically writing out a conditional statement that defines what a root is. So it says, if a to the nth power is b, that means a to the nth power equals b, then b is the nth root of a, which in symbolic terms means the nth root of b then equals a. These two statements are the same. Okay, some examples below. So if 5 squared is 25, 5 would be a, 2 would be n, and 25 then is b. Okay, so that means that 5, again a, is the square root of 25. So it's just the opposite. If you square something, you get an answer. If you take the square root of that answer, you're going to get what you had in the first place. 5 cubed is 125. 5 is the cubed root of 125. Okay? So I would like you to flip your notes back one page. You have a table that looks very similar to this one. What we're going to do next is work on filling this table out. I'm not going to do all of them. I will leave it up to you to plug these numbers into your calculator. Okay? So I'll do a couple with you. You see here it's 2 and x squared. So this box is going to be, do I have a pen? 2 squared, which is 4. Okay? This box is going to be 2 cubed, which is 8. This box is going to be 3 squared, which is 9. Okay, and so on and so forth. 4 squared, 16. 5 squared, 25. 6 squared, 36. 49. 64. Okay, finish filling out this table. Why don't you take a few minutes, pause the video, and finish filling out this table. It will be very important for you to have these numbers for your worksheet today. You may use your calculator to do so. Remember, we don't have a to the 4th button, so you will put in the number 4 and then push the caret button and then to the 4th. Okay? That will give you this box here. The answer is 256 if you can check your calculator. Once you have finished filling out your table, we are going to go over some more vocabulary. If a to the n is b, and a and b are real numbers, and n a positive integer, then a is the nth root of b. So what are we talking about here? If n is odd, here's one of our options. N has to be odd. There is one real nth root, one real root of b, and this is denoted by the nth root of b. the only nth root of 0 is 0. So that's a special case because 0 is not even or odd. And when n is even and b is positive, there are two real nth roots of b. The positive root is the principal root, or the principal nth root. And its symbol, again, is the nth root of b. But the negative root is the opposite, negative nth root of b. If b is negative, there are no real nth roots. What do we mean by that? Square root of a negative number. What do we know about that? We know that this would give us the imaginary square root of 4. This is not a real number, not a real root. So that's not what we're looking for here. Again, some terminology that we went over last week. N, that's your index, okay? That's the root that you are taking. This bar is your radical sign, and the A underneath, that's the radicand. I would like to go over a couple examples with you. Okay, again, two examples. If n is odd, what does that mean? 5 cubed. N is odd. Okay, 5 cubed we know is 125. So then, what is the cubed root of 125? It is 5. There's only one answer. How about negative 5 cubed? Again, we get 125. But then what is the cubed root of negative 125? It's negative 5. Okay? When you have an odd root, okay, when you have an odd n, you can have a negative underneath that radical sign. Okay? But if n is even, so what is that? Let's talk about negative 2 to the 4th power. Okay, we know that that's 16. We also know that 2 to the 4th power is 16. Both positive answers, okay? So again, we have n is even here. So if we take the 4th root of 16, we get two answers, right? Positive and negative 2. Anytime it's even, just like when we take the square root, because the square root is 2, that's an even number. But if we were to take, again, the square root of this negative number, 2 is even, but we don't get a real answer. So there are no real solutions. Turn the page and let's go over a couple more examples. What are the real cube roots of these three numbers? Okay. What does cube mean? That's 3. So we're going to be taking a cubed root, or the third root of these numbers, but we are not going to use our calculators. So if we have 0.008, we are going to be doing it to the 1/3, which is also like taking the cubed root. Do we know what the cubed root of 8 is? It's 2, right? So our answer then is 0.2, because we know when we're multiplying decimals, we get more numbers behind the decimal as we multiply. How about the cubed root of negative 1,000? We have a negative, but again, we have an odd root, so that's okay. The cubed root of negative 1,000, again, you can use your table hopefully we'll start memorizing some of these, is negative 10. And then the cubed root of 1/27th. Haven't worked a lot with fractions yet, but do we know the cubed root of 27? We do. It's 3. So the cubed root of 1/27th then is 1/3. Okay? Doing another example down here, it's asking for the real fourth roots. Fourth roots, okay? Let's do the fourth root, writing it out properly, of 1. Any root of 1 is just 1. Okay? How about the fourth root of this negative number? Can't do it. Can't take an even root of a negative number. Okay? And last, fourth root of 16/81. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the fourth root of 16 and the fourth root of 81. Using your chart, you'll find that the fourth root of 16 is 2 and the fourth root of 81 is 3. We have something else to do with these examples. If we're taking an even root, what do we get? The positive and negative answers. I was briefly interrupted, so I apologize for any repeats. Again, if we are taking the real root and it is an even number, we have to have the positive and the negative. Question for everyone. Why are there no real roots for the even root of a negative number? We should all know that answer. The roots for an even root of a negative number is an imaginary number. So any time that you have a number times a number, you're going to get a positive number. What if you have 4 numbers? Whether it's negative or positive, you're going to get a positive answer anytime that there is an even number of them. Okay? From here on out, we're going to be talking about the real number roots, and we're going to be talking about the positive roots. Notice here in this box, it says, we know that the negative value squared, or to the fourth, is also the positive answer, but what we're going to be doing is representing the positive square root. Okay? So it's still safe to put the negative answer, but we're going to be putting probably just the positive answer from here on out. So let's look at the first example. What is each real number root? Go ahead and look at your chart if you must. We know that the cubed root of 8 is 2, but the cubed root of negative 8 is negative 2. B, the square root, if there is no number, it is the square root. Look up above, it's already telling us what our answer is. We get 0.2 for our square root of 0.04. Letter C, the fourth root of negative 1. This is a negative number. This is an even number. Can't do it. No solutions. Okay? And again, here we have a negative number, but there's 2 steps. It wants us to square what's underneath the radical first. What's negative 2 squared? It's 4. Make sure if you plug it into your calculator, you have those parentheses. So then what's the square root of 4? 2. In this case, we can take the square root of this negative because it's not actually negative after you square it. Okay? Why don't you try a couple of these on your own? Take a few minutes, pause the video, try these, and then we'll see if you got them right. For those of you that don't like to pause the video, I am going to continue on anyways. Cubed root of negative 27, you should have got negative 3. Fourth root of a negative number, Can't happen, no solution. Square root of negative 7 squared is the square root of 49, which is 7. And last one, square root of negative 49. Can't happen, no solution. Okay, error analysis. We'll be getting a worksheet similar to this soon. A student said that the only fourth root of 16, so he's saying the only fourth root of 16 is equal to 2. Describe and correct his error. Why is he wrong? Well, we know that 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16, but we also know that negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 is 16, okay? So it says the only fourth root is 2? No, we also get negative 2, so there's the error. Let's move on to the next one. What is the simpler form of each radical expression? So now we are going to work on simplifying each term underneath the radical, okay? So what we're going to do is break this up. We're going to do the square root of 16 and the square root of x to the 8th. Do we remember from our worksheet last week the properties of these radicals? This means 16 to the 1/2 power, and this means x to the 8th to the 1/2 power. We know that we have to multiply those exponents. Okay, we know that the square root of 16 is 4, and x to the 8 over 2 is x to the 4th. Okay, there's our final answer. Let's work on the next one. So we have a to the 6 over 3 power. Whoops, let me correct that really quick. 6 over 3 power. And b to the 9 over 3 power. Okay, so when we simplify, we get a squared b cubed for our final answer. Trying one more. You don't have to write out this step, but I think that it helps to not make any mistakes, okay? So let's see. X to the 8 over 4 and y to the 12/4. Simplifying, we get x squared, y cubed. Once again, I'd like you to try a couple of these on your own. Pause the movie if you'd like, or video. Pause the video, try them out on your own, see if you get the right answers. Okay, we want to make sure that you know what you're doing before you start this worksheet. For those of you who are continuing to watch and not pausing, I will go ahead. Remember, if there's no number here, it is the square root. My pen works, there it goes. Square root of these things. So we have the square root of 81 and x to the 4 over 2 power. So we have 9 x squared for letter A. Okay. Third root here, so we have a to the 12 over 3 and b to the 15 over 3 power. So we have a to the 4th, b to the 5th. And last one, letter C. I'm going to do this without writing down fractions. If you would like to, you certainly can. X to the 12 divided by 4 is 3, and y to the 16 divided by 4 is y to the 4th power. Your final answers. Last page, lesson check. How do you know what you know? Okay. Do you know how to do these problems? Once again, we want to make absolutely sure that you know what you're doing before you get to your worksheet. So, on your notes probably, if you need more room, get a separate sheet of paper. Complete these problems and submit your answers. That will be the end of this lesson. Good luck with your worksheet.